In the Monster Club community, there is an unspoken rule on deck building in which you never really use low level monsters without reason. The logic behind this is that if power level wins matchups, then why would you use basic low level monsters? Well, this card is one of the exceptions, and if played properly, will be the key to executing the enemy. A quick rundown of the basic stats of the card before the over-analysis begins. Dweller Mage is a paper-type monster card that has an original power score of 300 and a total of 4 power slots. While its power level is terrible when it's sitting at a very low 300 when compared to the usual 1400 to, let's say, 1600 of most meta cards, at least it fits in the holy typing of cards, which is the paper type, which not only gives access to the best power card in the game, the Spirit Sword, but also gives access to Raking of the Sea. In turn, the monkey actually has a grand total of 4 slots, which is higher or equal to 13 other monsters in the game, 3 of which are actually used in a legitimate game outside of feeder decks. Here is where we talk about the more complex stuff, breaking up the card's name and the 2 separate parts that are worth looking into. Dweller matches up with the card Pretty Forest Dweller, and Pretty Forest Dweller actually matches up with 2 other cards, Guardian of the Forest and Hero of the Forest, which may possibly lead to some sort of group effect similar to Witch Returns, in which not only can you resurrect any witch from the grave, but also mages included. And speaking of the Witch Returns, the other aspect of Dweller Mage is the mage bit at the end, which allows it to be revived from the grave by, yet again, the Witch Returns. Yet, all of that pales in comparison to its effect. The ability to pull any power card from the deck to the board. While on the surface this doesn't seem like much, it all makes sense in the world of actives. While the term of actives isn't used by the corporation at all really, either officially or unofficially, it's a way of categorizing 2 general types of cards. There are those that just give power level increases to stacks and don't destroy themselves, which are generally known as buff cards. And there are those that provide large amounts of utility, but destroy themselves in the process, which are known as active cards, which happen to be the monkey's forte. While it may seem like a weird stance, considering the fact that the monkey starts at an egregiously low power level, it's not really worth buffing unless you plan to show up with the monkey drip and have the monkey be hat-tricked out immediately as you needed to pull something like a Spirit Sword. But when you use the monkey to resurrect a monster that you need or destroy a monster's power card, that is honestly when the monkey shows its strength. Need it all gone? Power extinction the power cards away and leave only tears. You roll the destruction dice whenever you please. Your cards never die. Swippity swap your cards until you don't even know where you are. Ensue chaos and make them feel pain. Yet, if you want to do that, you have to make sure that your deck is packed beforehand. And so, for a general idea of how to make a meaty deck sandwich, first, toss in a freshly cut return from the grave. Second, add a select and destroy and or a power destruction depending on how hard you want it to kick. Moon! And finally, fluffy return to shadows to finish that sandwich off. And now, that's what we here in the community call good food. Oh, but you want to know more than that, don't you? You want to know, dare I say it, the card combos. Well, you've come to the right place. If you'd like and have a hat trick in your hand, it isn't that bad to pull a buff card from the deck if you face a strong foe. Or even pull a monster swap from the deck instead to swap one of your monsters immediately. Oh, do you want something under the table? Try this. After you get wiped by the enemy, and they have, let's say, 2 to 3 power cards on the board. Try this one on for size. On the board, place Card Thief Ray, Turtles, and Dweller Mage. All face up in that order. Then have Dweller Mage pull Return to Shadows from the deck and flip all the cards face down. Then flip it all face up again to activate all the monsters' effect once more. And with that, a total of 4 cards will be lost for the enemy, before even attacking. But let this be the tip of the iceberg for testing and interactions. For instance, you may bring the total of a 4-card loss to a 6-card loss if you simply bring back Return to Shadows with the card Resurrection of Events. Or when you're done, you can sacrifice Turtles to play Great King of the Sea, so Turtle goes out on your own terms, and you can have a strong monster in its place. Or you could even shift most of the power cards to Dweller Mage during a Return to Shadows, and then follow that up with a hat trick, and guess what? Those cards go to your hand! The fact of the matter is that listing all of the card combinations that this card could and would have would be redundant. It all depends on the game state and how the game has been played, but if you find different ways to use Dweller Mage in a battle, whether it be from planning in the heat of battle, or speculating to yourself on some random day, that's when you find the true power of this card. And with that, we're at the end. In all honesty, this is the perfect example of a weak monster, as while it isn't the best combat-wise, the utility it can provide makes this card a living legend. So with this card lies the beef dream that we can possibly see a variety of monsters with all sorts of different power levels, but with all sorts of abilities. In the end, it's all up to the corporation, and I'm really excited to see how they continue with the games. Oh yeah! And I was even talking with the corporation the other day about possible infractions, and they even said, much cool, subscribe. And, oh gosh, I'm totally not showing related analytics to the number of people that are subscribed and the people that watch my videos, so if you could subscribe to this video, if you could subscribe to this channel, that will be greatly appreciated. As I see numbers go up and my dopamine goes up and wow, yes, wow.